So I thought that I would share just a quick way that speakers can help those that run ProPresenter to put their notes in. It's really not all that hard. Actually, I've had some speakers that really wanted to help out, and in helping, they actually made it a little harder. So I just thought I'd share this quick tip on how to do it. First thing you're going to want is not to use Microsoft Word at all for your speaker notes. You're going to want to use a text editor. In Mac, it's Text Edit, and you'll actually have to go into preferences and change it from rich text to plain text, but that's pretty straightforward. It should look like this. It should have no styling format. On Windows, there's also a pretty straightforward just text editor. Make it as simple as possible. So you'll notice I started out here with my title. I don't need to do this, but if I wanted to put that into my talk, that's the very first thing. Next thing I want you to notice is between each slide, all I have is just a space. So it's double spaced. So that indicates to the software, hey, this is a new slide. So what I did on my vacation would be on the first slide, on the second slide would be number one, what I wanted to do. Then next, if I had an image, I would say that it's an image, put this in parentheses just to make it easier, and then the name of the image. Now over here you'll notice that I have a folder that I've entitled the date. Actually, what I did, this wasn't December 7th of 2012. This is 2012 07 July 12th. So I put the year first just because computers, when they organize things, they do it by number. So if you put the year first, all this stuff from the same year will be right next to each other. So if I open up this folder, you'll see that I have 5 pictures. So the first picture I want to show, notice this isn't in the document, it's separate. And so on Mac I can just show you what that is, and that's just a magazine cover. Now first thing I wanted you to show is on screen, the screen is wide like this. It's not up and down like this. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your pictures. If you had 2 things to choose, I think I would prefer the landscape kind. Now, clearly this is a magazine cover, so you wouldn't want to use that. I mean, there wouldn't be a landscape version of a magazine cover, and that's okay, just I want you to know that. So, step 1, what I wanted to do, and then I show the magazine cover. Clearly I wanted to go backcountry, hiking, but what I actually did last year was I stayed at home and looked out my window. So this year I wanted to do something different. I went to church, then I went to another one. You'll notice that this one's small. What you want is you want the biggest pictures you can. So ideally, I would see if I couldn't find a bigger version of this. If I took the pictures myself, that should be pretty straightforward. It would be better to have pictures that are too big than pictures that are too small. If they're too small, they get all fuzzy on screen. So something else. Then number 4, I went to the mountains, and that's where I show this. Again, that's a small picture, but I was kind of in a hurry. So if I wanted those to build, here's how I would do it. So I'd say to recap, and then I'd do number 1, and then double space. I don't have to put to recap, it's just in this little generic talk that I just made up. That's what I wanted to do. And then, so number 1 and 2, and then number 1, 2, and 3, and finally number 1, 2, 3, and 4. All together, double space between each slide. That's pretty much it. You should know that scripture verses, usually you'll have 1 or 2 verses on the screen. So if you quote a psalm that's like 100 verses on a computer screen as you're typing it, you might think, oh, I could get 5 or 6 verses on each slide, but you really can't. It's really closer to one or two, occasionally even part of one, just the way that the screen is laid out, and we want it big enough that people can see and not so many lines that their eye gets lost. So usually I try and keep it 4 or less lines, maybe as many as 6, but not 8 or 10 or 15 lines of text because your eye just gets lost there. So that's basically it. Now, what I would do once I'm done with these notes, first I would send the entire talk as part of this, so that the operator knows where these slides come up in the talk. But I would make this and I would save this into this same folder. So I'm going to go to my desktop. In this case, I'm going to expand this out. This is a little different on a Mac, but we'll get this. And then let me entitle this 120712 My Vacation Notes. So that way, as the ProPresenter operator, I know exactly what I'm looking for. And I save that, and that goes in there. And then I can close this out, quit text edit, and basically I'm going to want to send this entire folder. If you're on a Mac, you could compress it, turn it into a zip file here, and send that. Or, if you just wanted to send all 6 of these files as attachments, that's fine. But don't copy and paste them into a Word document because that compresses them down, and all of them have the problem that this guy did, where it becomes very small and really basically unusable on a large screen. Let's say it's 10 feet across and you've got a postage stamp size graphic. That's just not going to upscale. So I hope that makes it fairly easy for you. Have a great day. This is Paul with TrinityDigitalMedia.com.